Women's Ordination. From the video and book, It Makes Sense to Believe. The role of women in the church. A big issue for many is that women cannot be ordained priests. As the church says we need water for baptism and bread and wine for the Eucharist, so she says we need men for the sacrament of ordination to priesthood. Because, for instance, priests represent Christ on earth, Jesus was a man, his apostles were men, and the church has only ever ordained men. Out of all the issues, this is the church position I accept mostly on faith. In a fall 2014 interview on 60 Minutes, Nora O'Donnell challenged Cardinal Sean O'Malley when she asserted women have very little power in the church and are second-class citizens. Then she called it unfair and immoral. Let's consider 60 Minutes' criticisms centered on fairness and power. First, we must observe that life, from a human perspective, is extremely unfair. For instance, we didn't get to pick the time, place, and circumstances of our birth. Throughout history and around the world, most people were born into difficult situations or worse. This unfairness is so pervasive and out of people's control that we have to conclude it's by God's design, as He knew from the moment before creation how it would all play out. Therefore, something that seems unfair to us can still be the will of God. Second, as for women having little power, Cardinal Sean said, "The church is about service, not power." I suspect only the tiniest fraction of viewers understood Cardinal Sean's words, but he was spot on. In the Bible, I cannot recall a single instance where Jesus praised worldly power as something to be sought. Yet I remember his mother's words. Her response to the angel's request was, "I am the handmaid of the Lord, let it be done to me according to your word." Then, after conceiving Jesus in her womb, Mary went in haste to visit her cousin Elizabeth. In response to her greeting, Mary proclaimed, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has looked with favor on his lowly servant. From this day all generations will call me blessed, for the mighty God has done great things for me." We should carefully note that this lowly handmaid mother of Jesus, a poor woman and wife who raised Jesus on the other side of the tracks in Nazareth, is the highest ranking creature in heaven for all eternity, even higher than the angels. Her titles include Queen of Heaven and Mother of God. The highest position in heaven was given to a lowly servant woman, not a pope, bishop, or priest, not a military general or business tycoon. This exemplifies the words of Jesus when he said, "Blessed are the poor and meek." In addition to our Holy Mother, notice what other women in the church have accomplished throughout the centuries when women had little or no power in society, unless they were a queen. They became saints, doctors of the church, and founders of vast religious orders and organizations. In our time, look at what Saint Mother Teresa accomplished, as well as Mother Angelica. The missionaries of charity have thousands of religious sisters and brothers caring for the poorest of the poor all around the world. Mother Angelica founded EWTN, the largest religious media network in the world. These women, blessed by God, created vast ministries out of nothing. Therefore, we cannot criticize the church based on fairness and power, as this seems to place us against God. We have to trust that God knows what he is doing. Now we might ask, does God have a practical reason for a male-only priesthood? I can only speculate that men who have usually been more powerful are therefore more difficult to save, and maybe a male priesthood will have more success getting through to men. Given this understanding, if I had daughters, I would raise them to compete and succeed, but I would also raise them to be loving and discerning and to trust God and his church.